an unstoppable, multiplying force inside the fifth cave that cannot be destroyed, forcing Wang Lin to abandon brute force and survive through strategy, adaptation, and ruthless decisions. I really love making these videos, but I need your support to keep going. Please like, comment, or hype video so I don't have to give up on this dream. Qinglin planned this with meticulous precision. I did not expect such a drastic change the moment the cave opened. Had I not absorbed that other ancient demon spirit, I would have been utterly suppressed by now. Yet none of this matters anymore. Even if the demon spirit land reverts to its former state, it changes nothing. The cave has opened. This time I will succeed. Ancient Devil Celestial Emperor. I Bei Lu am coming. A ferocious expression twisted across the ancient demon's face as he surged out from the pool in a streak of demonic light. Celestial spiritual energy swept past him in waves. But the instant it drew near, it was devoured by the demonic light surrounding him, becoming fuel that only strengthened his aura. Deep beneath a demon country, within the celestial spirit heaven realm, inside a vast underground cavern, Yao Shixiu lifted her head the moment that celestial spiritual energy passed. The instant she sensed it, her body trembled. A ghostly glow ignited within her eyes, and an overwhelming demonic energy erupted outward. That energy condensed into a massive vortex, devouring all nearby celestial spiritual energy. It was crushed, refined, and absorbed without resistance. Her figure flickered, vanishing in place. When she reappeared, she was already suspended in mid-air. Her entire body radiated a dense demonic aura, obscuring her features completely. Yet the coldness that emanated from her remained sharp and unmistakable. After a brief pause, she transformed into a streak of demonic light and shot forward. There was, however, one place untouched by the celestial spiritual energy: the Fire Demon Country. Within its depths lay the Soul Refining Sect. The celestial spiritual energy swept past the statue of Wang Lin deep inside the sect. It attempted to disperse the demonic force within, but from inside the statue came a piercing, shrill cry. The moment that cry echoed out, millions of soul-refining sect disciples felt a deep unease surge through their hearts. Without command, nearly all of them raised their soul flags at once. Countless soul fragments surged forth, forming a vast protective barrier around the stone statue. The capital of the soul-refining sect was instantly engulfed by whistling soul fragments. They collided with the incoming celestial spiritual energy, resisting with all their strength. But the celestial spiritual energy was far too overwhelming. The entire sect was like a solitary vessel adrift upon a raging sea. Fear filled the hearts of the millions of disciples. Yet they clenched their teeth and endured, refusing to retreat. At that very moment, a portion of the celestial spiritual energy shifted. It behaved as though it possessed its own will. Not only did it cease its attack, it gathered into a vortex and turned against the remaining three streams, aiding the soul-refining sect in resisting them. The other three portions did not forcefully press forward. Instead, they diverted their paths and flowed around. Soon the assisting vortex dissipated, merging once more with the others as the celestial spiritual energy continued sweeping across the world. When that energy filled the entire celestial spirit heaven realm, the four great pillars shone with blinding brilliance. Light spread across the land, weaving together like threads. The four pillars became connected, forming a vast protective layer over the realm. The ancient protection formation of the celestial spirit heaven realm had been activated once again. At that instant, as the heavens were flooded with light, a tremendous change erupted at the very center of the realm. An endless mountain range lay there, encircled by the four pillars. The earth trembled violently. Mountains collapsed in great swaths, stones crumbling as dust surged skyward, obscuring everything in a vast haze. From within one collapsing peak, a surge of purple light erupted. A purple dragon emerged. It roared its voice, shaking heaven and earth. As it rose, the surrounding mountains crumbled further. The dragon ascended into the sky, releasing a thunderous roar that echoed endlessly. Its bearing was majestic, its gaze incomparably cold. Soon another mountain shattered. A second purple dragon appeared. Then a third, a fourth. One by one, the mountains collapsed and more dragons emerged. In the end, 9 purple dragons coiled through the sky, their roars intertwining into a sound that seemed eternal. They crossed paths, weaving together. Purple light flashed as they formed a grand formation. The moment the formation took shape, the surrounding celestial spiritual energy erupted violently. The 9-dragon formation hovered in the sky, radiating a deep violet glow visible from afar. Space outside the formation twisted. 3 figures stepped out. Ling Tianhou, a middle-aged man in purple, and between them Master Void. He opened his eyes and brilliance flashed within them. Moments later, space distorted again. Another figure emerged. The All-Seer. The instant he appeared, Ling Tianhu's gaze sharpened. Master Void also lifted his head, looking toward him. The All-Seer remained calm. He looked at Master Void and spoke evenly. All-Seer greets fellow cultivator Void. Master Void smiled faintly and nodded. Ling Tianhou invited me. Thus this old man has come to take a look. The All-Seer glanced at the 9-dragon formation. Alone I lacked confidence. But with fellow cultivator Void present, this journey should pose no issue. As they spoke, space twisted once more twice from opposite sides. The celestial cloud cultivation couple appeared. So did Wang Lin. Behind the couple stood an illusory figure. Behind Wang Lin were Situnan Master Hollow Wind and others. The moment both sides arrived, their gazes met, each silently assessing the other. As Wang Lin appeared, the figure behind Wang Wei trembled slightly, staring at him with a mixture of regret and relief. Wang Lin's eyes settled on the celestial cloud cultivation couple. Though he had seen them before, he did not know them personally. But the shadow behind them, Zhou Yi, he recognized him instantly. Wang Wei observed Wang Lin with interest and smiled. "You are Wang Lin, the one who took the key to the 4th cave." Wang Lin's expression remained calm, though caution flickered within his eyes. He could not discern the cultivation of the man before him, nor that of the woman beside him. Celestial cloud cultivation couple, he thought. He had once heard of them from Yao Shixue. After seizing control of a cave, they had never left. So it was them. "I am Wang Lin," replied evenly. Hu Juan, standing beside Wang Wei, smiled. "You lost that bet." Wang Wei chuckled and nodded, then turned back to Wang Lin. "The restriction at the entrance to the Tide Abyss in the Fire Demon country, was that your doing?" He waved his hand, revealing a blade of grass. The instant Wang Lin saw it, he recognized it as one of his own restrictions. His expression did not change as he nodded. "The younger generation surpasses the old. At your age, I could not create such intricate formations." Admiration filled Wang Wei's gaze. "You praise me too highly," Wang Lin said. As he spoke, his gaze casually swept across the shadow behind Wang Wei. For a fleeting instant, Zhou Li's eyes flickered. Wang Lin understood immediately. At that moment, several streaks of light approached from afar. Leading them was a beautiful middle-aged woman. Behind her were 4 disciples, including Chen Qin and another who seemed destined to become the next brilliant Void Saintress. She arrived, glanced around, greeted the All-Seer, carefully examined the celestial cloud cultivation couple, then nodded politely toward Wang Lin before taking her place beside Master Void. The All-Seer's expression remained unchanged, though his brow furrowed slightly. Soon after, 2 elderly men arrived. One sat upon a gourd. The other wore black. The gourd-riding elder scanned the crowd. When his gaze fell upon the celestial cloud cultivation couple, his pupils shrank. After a moment's thought, he moved to stand beside the All-Seer. The man in black said nothing. He simply took his place beside Wang Lin's group. Wang Lin's eyes brightened slightly as he observed him. Though they had never spoken, Wang Lin sensed a cold arrogance in him, a man who kept distance from all. At last the man in black spoke. "Take me in." Wang Lin pondered briefly, then nodded. The 9-dragon formation slowly rotated beneath the violet glow. But at that moment, a powerful demonic flame surged toward them. In an instant, it arrived, transforming into a human silhouette. Demonic energy cloaked the figure, obscuring all features, Even gender could not be discerned. Yet the moment it appeared, Wang Lin turned sharply. The figure looked back. Its gaze burned with hatred sharp as a blade. But just as suddenly it withdrew its gaze and moved to stand beside the All-Seer. The All-Seer nodded faintly. Yet his eyes drifted into the distance, anticipation flickering within them. From afar, a young man in red approached slowly. He was strikingly handsome, possessing a strange, almost demonic beauty. His head was completely bald. Celestial spiritual energy surrounded him. He first looked toward Wang Lin and smiled. "Little brother Wang, I arrived late." "Beilu," Wang Lin replied calmly, nodding. "You are not late. The timing is perfect." The bald youth's appearance caused Master Void's pupils to contract. A trace of coldness flashed in the eyes of the celestial cloud cultivation couple. Only the All-Seer gradually revealed a smile. The nine-dragon formation activated fully. Celestial spiritual energy surged, and the nine dragons roared as violet light exploded outward, covering a radius of 50 kilometers. The brilliance swept past in an instant. When it faded, all figures had vanished. The fifth cave had opened. No one knew what the fifth cave within the celestial spirit heaven realm truly looked like, nor did anyone know its size. In those days, only Celestial Lord Qing Lin was permitted to enter. No outsiders were allowed. Any who dared trespass were killed without exception. Even Qing Shuang had never taken so much as a single step inside. This fifth cave was Qing Lin's absolute secret. At this moment, as the purple light slowly faded, everyone vanished without a trace. Wang Lin felt as though his body had been torn apart into countless fragments by the purple light. The sensation was strange, yet there was no pain. It felt as if an eternity had passed, but in truth it lasted only an instant. When it ended, Wang Lin found himself standing in an unfamiliar place. The land beneath him was covered in black sand, stretching endlessly toward the horizon. Violent winds swept across it, stirring the sand into spiraling torrents like tornadoes. Even the sky was dim, as though veiled by a layer of grey haze. Anyone who stared upward for too long would feel a suffocating pressure descend upon them. Wang Lin stood amidst the black sand and gazed at the sky, his expression dark and somber. His divine sense had already spread outward. Once it could easily envelop the entire demon spirit land. Yet now it could not even find the boundary of this space. Within the range of his perception, he was alone. It seemed that all who had entered had been scattered. To meet again would be exceedingly difficult. After a brief moment of contemplation, Wang Lin rose into the air. However, after ascending barely 100 feet, his expression suddenly changed. A sense of danger descended from above. Without hesitation, he dropped back to the ground. At the same time, a ray of blue light shot out from his right eye, forming an azure shield around him. The instant the shield appeared, grey gas descended from the sky. Its speed was terrifying. It struck the shield almost immediately. A thunderous bang echoed. Wang Lin was forced backward more than 100 feet before he managed to stop. A cold gleam flashed in his eyes. Without pause, he clenched his fist and struck forward. Behind him, the shadow of an ancient god appeared. His punch carried immense divine force. It collided with the grey gas and shattered it. Yet the moment it shattered, Wang Lin's pupils contracted. He retreated rapidly. The broken grey gas did not dissipate. Instead, it split into 10 strands, each more powerful than before, attacking him from 10 directions at once. Explosions rang out as Wang Lin was driven backward. The grey gas accelerated, pursuing him relentlessly. Though the azure shield blocked it, the impact caused his body to tremble. He retreated over 10,000 feet. When the grey gas surged forward once more, Wang Lin spat out a mouthful of origin energy. As the two collided, he struck again with his fist. The result caused his breath to hitch. The 10 strands of grey gas shattered yet instantly transformed into over 100 strands rushing toward him. What kind of thing is this? His scalp tingled with unease. The first punch had brought little backlash, but the second had been severe. His hands still throbbed with lingering pain. Though the pain soon faded, Wang Lin did not dare throw a third punch. He retreated swiftly, the azure shield encasing him as it resisted the relentless assault. His figure streaked across the endless black desert like a drawn line, carving a long trail behind him as he fled from the pursuing grey gas. Teleportation was useless here. He even attempted spatial bending. Though it functioned, it allowed him to move only a single inch. I have only just entered and already encountered something so bizarre. A bitter smile touched his lips. As the grey gas continued its relentless pursuit, killing intent flashed within his eyes. His right hand formed a seal. Suddenly he turned and shouted, "Call the wind." Since brute force could not destroy it, he chose to use a celestial spell. As his voice echoed, dense black winds surged into existence within the dim world. 4 black dragons took form within the storm. But the moment the dragons appeared, the sky transformed like a raging ocean in turmoil. From afar, countless strands of grey gas emerged, weaving together into a massive whirlwind that swept across the land. Wang Lin's expression froze as the 4 black dragons were instantly torn apart. A chill ran through him. He fled once more. Behind him, the grey whirlwind expanded rapidly as it absorbed more and more grey gas. Soon it stretched over 10,000 feet in width, roaring as it gave chase. As he fled, Wang Lin felt a powerful suction force pulling at him from behind. What shocked him even more was that wherever the whirlwind passed, black gas would appear and be devoured by it. The result, the whirlwind grew larger and stronger with every passing moment. What exactly is this? Gritting his teeth, Wang Lin summoned the ancient god furnace. His power surged into it, and his body vanished instantly. When he reappeared, he was 1,000 feet away. Though the distance was small, it gave him a measure of hope. But the whirlwind crossed that 1,000 feet in less than a breath. Even if he exhausted all his power using the furnace, it would not be enough. If he wished to escape, he had to stop it, even if only for a single moment. He suddenly turned, reaching into his storage bag. More than a dozen flying swords shot out. They formed a sword formation and charged toward the approaching whirlwind. There was no time to hesitate. As the swords closed in, Wang Lin shouted, "Explode!" One of the swords trembled violently, releasing a destructive aura before shattering into countless fragments. The remaining swords followed, exploding one after another. The storm of fragments tore into the whirlwind, forcing it to pause if only for an instant. Suppressing the pain in his heart, Wang Lin activated the ancient god furnace again. He vanished and reappeared over 1,000 feet away. Then again, 9 times in succession. When he finally stopped, he had retreated nearly 10,000 feet. Yet he did not relax. The whirlwind resumed its pursuit. Wang Lin's expression darkened. Gritting his teeth, he tore open space before him. From within, the illusory form of the god-slaying spear emerged. Gripping it tightly, he hurled it forward. The spear pierced through the whirlwind. Its destructive force erupted, violently shaking heaven and earth. The whirlwind collapsed. Seizing the opportunity, Wang Lin activated the furnace repeatedly, dozens of times in rapid succession. But when he glanced back, his face turned pale. The shattered whirlwind had transformed into dozens of identical whirlwinds, each just as large, each racing toward him. No matter what he did, they would not vanish. The more he attacked, the more they multiplied. This was something Wang Lin had never encountered before. With his cultivation, he could clearly see none of them were illusions. Every single one was real. I cannot disperse them. Treasures are useless. Spells are useless. If they split again, there will be hundreds. How can I evade that? The whirlwinds drew closer, continuously absorbing grey gas and growing stronger. Wang Lin knew that even the furnace could only sustain him for a short while longer. Soon they would catch up. Since I cannot evade, then I will endure. He abruptly stopped. He could not allow them more time to grow. At the moment he halted, ancient god power surged through his body. His form expanded rapidly. His true ancient god body appeared once more. Towering thousands of feet high, it seemed capable of holding up the heavens themselves. The 5 ancient god stars spun rapidly as 10 whirlwinds closed in. Wang Lin let out a roar that shook the world. He no longer fled. He stepped forward. The furnace flashed. He vanished and reappeared directly before one of the whirlwinds. Deep within the fifth cave of the celestial spirit heaven realm, a wooden bridge stood in silence. Beneath it flowed black water, within which grotesque shadows occasionally flickered. Upon the bridge sat a figure. His appearance could not be seen clearly. Only the outline of armor could be vaguely discerned. Thick black mist enveloped him, saturated with dense demonic energy, like the very essence of a hellish abyss. He sat motionless. Before him floated a small bottle sealed tightly with a cork, its contents hidden from view. Slowly the figure within the black mist opened his eyes. Bloodlust filled them. He licked his lips. His voice, hoarse and grating, like bones grinding together, echoed softly. "Who will be the first to emerge? It has been many years since I last tasted human flesh." His ancient god body towered thousands of feet high, as though he could hold up the very heavens. The ancient god furnace flickered, and in a single instant he appeared before a raging whirlwind. This whirlwind could not be destroyed by brute force. Wang Lin had already learned that lesson. The moment he appeared, his eyes shone. He let out a low roar. This time he did not summon the azure light shield. Instead, he chose to confront it with his flesh. "I want to see just how powerful this whirlwind is, compared to my ancient god body." The whirlwind moved with terrifying speed. It crashed into him in an instant. At the moment of contact, Wang Lin felt as if an endless tide had slammed into his body. Within that tide, violent winds howled. They sought to tear him apart, to grind him into fragments and absorb him completely. As the whirlwind engulfed him and attempted to rip him to pieces, it even penetrated into his body. Popping sounds echoed from within him. His massive form was forced back 3 steps. While retreating, the ancient god furnace flashed again. He reappeared 1,000 feet away, narrowly avoiding the assault of 4 additional whirlwinds. His expression turned grave. By testing with his own body, Wang Lin had gained a clear understanding of how many whirlwinds he could endure. An ordinary cultivator would have been shredded instantly. Not even their origin soul would escape. Even I felt pain. Just what is this thing? A cold glint flashed in his eyes as another whirlwind approached. Blue light surged. The azure light shield formed around him, spinning slowly. With both the azure light shield and my ancient god body, I should be able to suppress them. He charged forward. 3 whirlwinds arrived first. They slammed into the shield with a thunderous crash. The azure light flickered violently. The impact was unimaginable. Wang Lin was forced to retreat. Before he could stabilize himself, 9 more whirlwinds rushed in and struck the shield one after another. The shield rotated rapidly. Wang Lin retreated again, and again. There was no end to it. Each collision forced him farther back step by step as the whirlwinds relentlessly battered him. When the 9 whirlwinds finally dissipated, Wang Lin had already retreated an unknown distance. Though he possessed the body of an ancient god, he was only at 5 stars. Even with the shield blocking the attacks, pain spread through him. Cold sweat formed on his forehead. Yet the crisis was not over. 15 more whirlwinds surged forward. They aligned themselves, then charged as one. Even with the ancient god furnace, he could not separate them. Their speed was too great. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sky and earth seemed to collapse. The 15 whirlwinds struck the azure light shield simultaneously, then shattered, transforming into a force beyond comprehension. The shield was nearly pressed flat against Wang Lin's body. His entire body trembled. Blood surged up his throat, but he forcibly swallowed it back. Then he was sent flying like a kite with a severed string. He crashed into the ground tens of thousands of feet away. A violent shockwave spread outward, kicking up endless black sand. It took a long time before the dust settled. A massive crater had formed. At its center, Wang Lin had already returned to normal size. He struggled to stand, a bitter smile on his face, and slowly walked out of the pit. He looked across the endless black sand desert. Relief flickered within him. But deep in his eyes, fear remained. This is the first time my 5-star ancient god body has suffered such injury. I don't know what that whirlwind was, but its power is terrifying. If it had split again, I would not have been able to withstand it. His expression darkened. After his original body and avatar fused, he could already battle Nirvana Cleanser cultivators. He had believed himself safe against all but late-stage Nirvana Cleanser cultivators and Nirvana Shatterer old monsters, especially with his powerful ancient god body. But now he felt danger. Looking across the black desert, he felt as though he had returned to the land of the ancient gods. Here, a single mistake meant death. Recently, I've grown careless. My cultivation increased too quickly. The fusion of my bodies, it made me less cautious. He clenched his fist. His gaze sharpened. This caution had not appeared in his eyes for a long time. Yet now, because of this crisis, it had returned. This is the cave of Celestial Emperor Wang Lin. Danger is everywhere. I cannot be careless. He took a deep breath. He did not release his divine sense. Instead, he kept it circulating within his body. Then he began to walk forward. With his insight, he realized something. The appearance of that grey gas was likely triggered by his divine sense. At first, the grey gas had been manageable, but now he had a vague feeling. If he used his divine sense again, what appeared would not be grey gas. It would be something far more terrifying. This intuition was strange, but it came from over 1,000 years of comprehending the heavens. After a moment of thought, his eyes lit up. He slapped his storage bag. The soul flag appeared. With a shake, it unfurled. He reached inside and drew out a soul fragment. The fragment still bore a fierce expression, but its will had long been erased. It floated respectfully before him. Wang Lin put away the soul flag and pointed between its brows, leaving behind a strand of divine sense. Then he moved forward. After 15 minutes, he was far away from the fragment. He took a deep breath. Still, he did not release his own divine sense. Instead, he sent a command. The divine sense within the soul fragment spread outward. At that instant, an indescribable sense of danger exploded within Wang Lin's mind. Without hesitation, he severed the connection. At the moment it was cut, he faintly saw the sky above the fragment distort. A beam of grey light descended. It struck the fragment and erased it completely. Cold sweat covered Wang Lin's forehead. Fortunately, he had been prepared. By cutting the connection instantly, the reaction did not reach him. He stared into the distant sky. His scalp tingled. The grey light had vanished in an instant, but the terror it brought was greater than dozens of whirlwinds combined. After a long silence, Wang Lin continued forward. The desert had no day or night. The sky remained dim, as if forever shrouded by a storm of dust. 1 month passed. He walked far. In that time he saw no one, not even a single living being. There were no plants, nothing but endless black sand. After staring at it long enough, even the mind would sink into gloom. Wang Lin's expression grew darker. This place was like a forbidden land, like a prison that bred despair. Even cultivators, though stronger than mortals, would suffer if they stayed here too long. Their origin soul would change. Their temperament would grow violent. They would edge closer to becoming devils. For demonic cultivators, however, this place would be a holy land. Their cultivation would rise rapidly, but in the end, their souls would fully transform into that of a devil. They would become devil humans empty without consciousness. Wang Lin walked silently. Throughout the month, the grey gas did not appear again. Yet the sense of danger did not fade. It grew stronger. Several times he felt a strand of divine sense brush past him like a gentle breeze. But no matter how he searched, he could not find its source. He could not fly. He had tested it once. A soul fragment rose into the sky, but after reaching 200 feet, it collapsed. Standing on the sand, Wang Lin's expression darkened further. Black gas drifted faintly across his face, but his eyes remained clear. I wonder how Situ is doing. His path is demonic. If he were here, he would surely gain something. He raised his hand and grasped his face. Threads of black energy emerged, gathering in his palm. He looked at it carefully. Within it he felt the aura of a scattered devil. Devilish energy. His eyes flashed. He crushed it without hesitation. The black gas shattered, spreading outward across 1,000 feet before slowly fading. Wang Lin stopped. He stared at the dissipating energy. A thought formed in his mind. Perhaps I can use this. After a moment, he continued forward. He did not know where to go. In this boundless desert, there was no direction. He could only keep moving, searching. Time passed. Another month slipped by. 2 months trapped within this place, black gas now surrounded Wang Lin constantly. From afar, he appeared thin, like a wandering devil god. Step by step, he moved forward. On that day, Wang Lin closed his eyes. His expression was heavy shadowed with gloom as he continued forward step by step. At that moment, a faint divine sense swept past him at astonishing speed. Wang Lin did not pause. His lips moved slightly as he murmured the 9th time. Over the past 2 months, this was already the 9th divine sense to pass by. What pressed down on him most was that each one was different. Clearly, they belonged to 9 separate individuals. After 3 breaths, the divine sense withdrew, then swept across him once more. Wang Lin remained composed, walking onward without hesitation. When it finally faded, he raised his head and looked into the distance. A glimmer flickered in his eyes as he whispered, "Still not enough." In this desert where neither sun nor moon existed, time easily dissolved into nothingness. Without a firm mind, one would lose all sense of it. Had Wang Lin not long been accustomed to solitude, madness would have taken him already. Compared to this emptiness, the decades of his cultivation, even the centuries spent in the land of the ancient god, were far more intense. This loneliness, it was nothing. As he walked, his figure gradually blurred into the horizon, as though his very silhouette carried the weight of the solitude within him. One man, one world, silent existence, endless footsteps. 1 month, another month, yet another month. 6 months passed as Wang Lin traversed the Black Sand Desert. Any ordinary cultivator would have long since collapsed into madness. This was not cultivation. This was an unceasing march through desolation, bearing the crushing burden of absolute isolation. But to Wang Lin, it meant nothing. The Black Desert stretched without end. Another divine sense swept past him. In that instant, Wang Lin suddenly lifted his head. A cold light surged within his eyes. The 32nd divine sense. I have enough devilish energy. Mist coiled around his body. Dense devilish energy enveloped him like black flames raging within the desert. The divine sense passed and vanished far beyond him. Several breaths later, the 32nd divine sense began to retreat rapidly. But the moment it brushed past Wang Lin, the devilish energy within him erupted. He had waited half a year, accumulated for half a year, observed for half a year. Throughout this time, he had silently gathered the naturally occurring devilish energy of this place, carefully ensuring it did not corrupt his origin soul. Now all of it burst forth. Black flames surged skyward, as if seeking to burn the heavens themselves. A massive devil shadow manifested, lunging forward without mercy to devour the retreating divine sense. As it fled, a portion of it was torn away and consumed. In that instant, Wang Lin felt a chilling origin energy enter his mind through the devilish force. The divine sense contracted sharply, employing an unknown method to escape the engulfing flames. It fled into the distance. Cold light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. He had waited 6 months for this moment. Everything unfolded exactly as planned. As the divine sense escaped, Wang Lin spread his arms wide and released a roar he had suppressed for half a year. At once, all the surrounding devilish energy exploded outward. Black strands surged from his body, spreading wildly until they covered several thousand feet. As the mist dispersed, Wang Lin's true form was revealed once more. Anyone who knew him would gasp in shock. Though his clothes remained unchanged, his long hair had turned pitch black, flowing wildly. His face was gaunt, sunken to the bone, as if all flesh had withered away. His eyes, deeply set, were laced with faint black veins. He no longer resembled a normal cultivator. He looked like something far darker, a devil cultivator. A savage aura coiled around him, twisting his entire presence. Ordinarily, half a year of gathering devilish energy would never produce such a transformation, nor allow him to amass such power. It would require decades of cultivation in this place. But Wang Lin was no ordinary cultivator. In over 1,000 years, he had walked both righteous and demonic paths. Especially through the use of the demonic finger, he had once become a devil cultivator, even if only for a fleeting moment. He had pushed himself to the extreme, wielding terrifying techniques. With arms outstretched, killing intent surged from his eyes as the devilish energy expanded rapidly. Just as the divine sense was about to escape completely, Wang Lin roared again. At that instant, the boundless devilish energy collapsed inward, only to explode outward once more. Just like it had half a year ago, it spread with terrifying speed. In a blink, it covered hundreds of thousands of kilometers, engulfing the escaping divine sense. But this alone was not enough. This was only the second step. There was still a third. The moment the devilish energy spread across that vast distance, Wang Lin stepped forward. The ground beneath him caved in as he shot forward like lightning. The black veins on his face writhed. The devilish energy within him surged violently. His right hand formed a seal, and he pointed the demonic finger toward the sky. Borrowing its power, he controlled the surrounding devilish energy, slowing its dissipation and forcing it to move with him. This allowed him to remain cloaked within it. His mind was clear. This was the critical moment. With every breath, more devilish energy faded. If he failed to locate the source of that divine sense, half a year of effort would be lost. His speed reached its absolute limit, like a meteor streaking across the void, chasing the direction he had locked onto. From above, the scene was shocking beyond words. A vast mass of devilish energy, spanning hundreds of thousands of kilometers, surged forward. Yet even as it moved, it steadily dissipated. Within it, a black shadow flickered like lightning. Its true form could not be seen, only fleeting after images. Wang Lin needed to leave this black sand desert. The divine sense was his only key, yet he could not track it with his own divine sense. For reasons unknown, the other party's divine sense caused no reaction. Wang Lin did not dare take the risk. He could only endure, only wait. But he did not have decades to waste. Not for Zhou Yi, not for Situ Nan. Half a year ago, when he first condensed a strand of devilish energy and crushed it, he had noticed something. In that fleeting moment of dispersal, he felt as though he had entered a void. Within that void, he gained a faint understanding of this place. When he spread his divine sense, there it extended over 1,000 feet without obstruction. That discovery had opened a path for him. To gather more devilish energy, to shorten the time required. He had decisively used the demonic finger to absorb it at a speed befitting a true devil cultivator. The result was immense power at a heavy cost. His appearance changed, and within him a devilish intent took root. Now, as he sped forward, his divine sense extended across hundreds of thousands of kilometers within the cloak of devilish energy. Yet as the energy dissipated, that range shrank rapidly. Outside this energy, his divine sense would trigger a reaction from the desert. That grey light from half a year ago, he had not forgotten. Locking onto the retreating divine sense, he pressed onward. Yet less than half of his gathered energy remained. Wang Lin clenched his teeth. Faster. Suddenly the fleeing divine sense stopped. It no longer retreated, instead it surged upward into the sky. It was severed. Wang Lin's eyes shone. He had anticipated this. The other party would cut off part of their divine sense to conceal their location. At the moment it was severed, Wang Lin coughed out a mouthful of blood. The blood glowed brilliantly. He leapt into it and shot forward. Blood escape. A forbidden technique, sacrificing one's own vitality for explosive speed. He had not used it against the whirlwind before because it would not have been enough. But now it was necessary. Wrapped in bloodlight, his speed surged dramatically. Ignoring the severed portion, he continued forward, chasing the origin of that divine sense. Using what little devilish energy remained, he pressed on relentlessly. In the distance, a vast shadow slowly emerged within his sight. This shadow grew larger and larger within Wang Lin's sight until at last its true form was revealed. Wang Lin's pupils contracted sharply. He recognized this shadow. He knew it all too well. It was a black tower standing alone within the desolate black sand desert. A dense, suffocating, devilish energy coiled around it so intense that even from afar one could sense its madness. Wang Lin had seen such a tower before. In the Sky Demon country, a single cold snort from within had nearly shattered his body. Back in the demon spirit land, he had been unable to escape the tower's spells. If not for the illusion created by the celestial ascension fruit, he would have lost all trace of that scattered devil's tower. Scattered devil, Wang Lin murmured inwardly. Back then, Beilu said there were 9 scattered devils beneath the ancient devils. I encountered one in the demon spirit land. I never expected to find another here. A strange light flickered in his eyes as he came to a halt. His face flushed faintly red. The backlash from blood escape still lingered. Meanwhile, the remaining devilish energy in the air gradually dispersed. There is a scattered devil's tower here, and ancient demon Beilu was eager to come. His thoughts raced. The flower celestial said that after the celestial realm collapsed, Celestial Emperor Qing Lin was gravely wounded. Then 2 outsiders entangled him, forcing him into secluded cultivation here. A spark of clarity flashed like lightning through Wang Lin's mind. Those 2 outsiders must have been ancient demon Beilu and an ancient devil. In that instant, everything seemed to connect. Countless thoughts surged forward, weaving together into a fragile but coherent picture. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed as he grasped a fragment of the truth. Ancient demon Beilu was split into 9 parts and sealed within the demon spirit land. Over endless years, that celestial land became a demonic one. But who sealed him? And why are there only scattered devils there, but no ancient devils? His gaze sharpened. Where is the ancient devil? A realization struck him like thunder. If this reasoning holds, then that ancient devil must be here, in the 5th cave, where Celestial Emperor Qing Lin resides. Wang Lin felt as though a veil had been torn away. He had long suspected this. Now, upon seeing the scattered devil's tower, his suspicions solidified into certainty. Scattered devil. His expression turned cold. With my current cultivation, can I fight one? Origin energy stirred within his body, suppressing the injuries left by blood escape. A violent hostility surfaced on his face. 6 months of waiting combined with the influence of devilish energy had filled him with killing intent. At this moment, his appearance was ferocious, almost savage. Without hesitation, Wang Lin stepped forward, advancing toward the tower. Though the black tower seemed close, it still lay at a distance within the vast desert. Yet to Wang Lin, this distance meant nothing. He closed the gap swiftly. But just as he advanced, the land before the tower trembled. Endless grains of black sand gathered together, condensing into dozens of human figures. They wore ancient garments, their bodies saturated with devilish energy. That energy intertwined above them, forming the vague silhouette of an old man. The old man's eyes shone coldly as he stared at Wang Lin. Then he raised a finger and pointed. The sand figures roared and charged forward. Spells erupted into the sky. Brilliant colors flashed as they surged toward Wang Lin. The ferocity in Wang Lin's expression finally erupted after 6 months of suppression. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and appeared before one of the sand figures. His right index finger pressed directly between its brows. A dull explosion rang out. The figure trembled violently, then collapsed into scattered sand. A mere puppet dares block my path. His figure flickered again, appearing beside another puppet. A spell gathered at his fingertips as he swept past, instantly destroying it. At that moment, the remaining puppets unleashed a barrage of spells converging on him. Blue light flashed within Wang Lin's eyes. A cyan barrier expanded outward. Thunderous explosions erupted as the spells collided with the barrier. All attacks were halted 10 feet away. Not a single one could breach the invisible boundary. Wang Lin moved like lightning. His right index finger pointed again and again as he passed each puppet. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions echoed without pause. Each one marked the destruction of a puppet. The hostility on his face deepened further. In a flash, he appeared behind the final sand figure. His hand seized its head and crushed it mercilessly. A sharp crack rang out as it disintegrated. He rose into the air, but never exceeded 200 feet. Call the wind. Midair, Wang Lin formed a seal with his right hand and pointed toward the old man formed by devilish energy. Shock filled the old man's face. Everything had happened too quickly. Before he could react, the slaughter was already complete. To him, the young man before him seemed more like a devil than himself. He did not know that after half a year of accumulating devilish energy, Wang Lin's demonic nature had already broken free. As the words "call the wind" echoed, black winds surged forth, condensing into 4 roaring black dragons. Yet something was different. Each dragon bore a long, sharp horn. Their fangs were elongated, jagged, terrifying. Merely looking at them caused one's scalp to tingle. These were not celestial dragons. They were devil dragons. The 4 dragons did not exhale cold wind. Instead, they inhaled. The surrounding black wind was devoured completely. Cracking sounds echoed from their bodies. Black armor began to form across their scales. It was incomplete, only fragments, but its savage design, covered in sharp spikes, made them appear even more sinister. Not only the old man, even Wang Lin himself was startled. But there was no time to think. Only one thought echoed in his mind. What kind of celestial spell is this? This is clearly a demonic art. With a single gesture, Wang Lin commanded the dragons forward. The old man's expression changed drastically. He quickly formed a seal to cast a spell, but at that instant, the 4 devil dragons roared in unison. The roar shook the heavens. The black sand below surged upward into the air. The sound wave carried a terrifying demonic intent, instantly disrupting the old man's spell. He retreated in panic, fleeing toward the distant black tower. The 4 devil dragons pursued closely behind. Their massive heads, vicious fangs, and dripping saliva created a horrifying sight. Killing intent burned in Wang Lin's eyes as he followed behind them, always remaining below 200 feet. The dragons did the same. Fear filled the old man as he fled desperately. His cultivation was only at the early Nirvana Scrya stage. He could not escape. As the dragons closed in, he roared in despair. "Lord fallen devil, save me." The moment the words left his mouth, darkness engulfed his vision. Pain tore through his body and he lost consciousness. The 4 devil dragons fought among themselves like beasts competing for prey. In the end, one devoured him whole. At that moment, dozens more figures flew out from the tower. They were clad in black, their faces concealed. Their cold gazes fixed upon the 4 devil dragons. 32 strands of divine sense. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. One just died. That leaves 31. He had memorized each divine sense that had swept past him. Not one of these figures was weak. Killing intent surged within Wang Lin. He understood clearly, if he wished to leave, all answers lay here. Even if he chose not to kill, they would never let him go. With the 4 devil dragons circling him, Wang Lin charged forward. "Lord Devil, slaughter." An ancient voice rang out from the black-clad figures. Each of them formed a seal and pointed between their brows. A vast surge of devilish energy erupted, forming the shadow of a colossal devil above them. Before it could fully take shape, Wang Lin pointed forward without hesitation. The 4 devil dragons roared and charged. Wang Lin grinned coldly as he shot forward like a blade. His right hand extended. The god-slaying spear formed instantly. With a flick of his arm, he hurled it. The spear streaked forward like black lightning, catching up to the dragons, becoming in that moment a 5th dragon. It collided with the forming shadow. A deafening explosion followed. The earth trembled. The sky itself seemed on the verge of collapse. The devil dragons shattered. The god-slaying spear broke apart. The devil shadow roared, releasing a violent shockwave that forced Wang Lin back several steps. His gaze turned cold and grim. Then the shadow twisted and shattered. The black-clad figures who formed it collapsed as well. Wang Lin stepped forward. In an instant he appeared before them. With a sweep of his hand, their heads flew off. Each head was different, all shrouded in black mist. "I have use for these." Wang Lin's gaze lifted toward the towering black structure, 100 feet tall. At its peak, a figure stood silently. A voice echoed down, cold and calm, "I am Ming Hai, the fallen water-scattered devil. If you can kill me, then you may obtain Celestial Emperor Qinglin's mountain and river, painting lonely desert smoke." He wore grey armor. A sinister aura seeped from his body, gathering into a devilish shadow that loomed behind him. He stood motionless, as though he had merged with the black sand desert itself. His face could not be seen beneath the armor. Only a pair of cold eyes remained visible, indifferent beneath the helmet. His voice carried no emotion, flat, distant. As he spoke, his gaze never left Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression darkened. With a casual sweep of his hand, he stored all the severed heads into his bag. Then he lifted his eyes toward the man who called himself Ming Hai. From him, Wang Lin sensed a cultivation no weaker than that of a nirvana cleanser. What unsettled him more was the aura. Beneath the strands of devilish energy, there lingered a trace of celestial spiritual power. Wang Lin looked at him and asked calmly, "Am I the only one here?" Ming Hai paused as if considering. Then he shook his head. His eyes suddenly gleamed. "Defeat me," he said slowly, "and you will know everything." With that, he stepped forward. That single step carried him off the tower. Suspended in mid-air, his right hand clawed mercilessly at the void. 5 strands of black smoke emerged, slicing forward toward Wang Lin. The smoke seemed capable of tearing space itself. As it advanced, 5 grotesque scars appeared in the sky, as though the heavens had been cut open. Wang Lin's pupils contracted. He immediately retreated several steps. The black smoke struck the ground where he had stood, erupting into violent sandstorms. Waves of sand surged upward hundreds of feet, then crashed down toward him. His eyes flashed. His right hand formed a seal. He pointed forward and shouted, "Summon the rain." At once the heavens shifted. Countless droplets formed in the sky. They crystallized and fell, responding to his command. Each drop carried the origin energy of the world. When they collided with the sand-muffled bursts echoed, and the grains disintegrated. Wang Lin did not pause. He continued retreating, his hands shifting through seals. The rain thickened, spreading across 10,000 feet. With a wave of his hand, the descending rain transformed into countless sharp blades, shooting forward. Thunderous roars shook the heavens as the sand waves rapidly broke apart beneath the onslaught. At that instant, Ming Hai charged forward. He passed directly through the collapsing sand wave. Raising his hand, he pointed lightly and said, "Sand explosion." The ground before him trembled. Then the sand erupted upward, surging from all directions toward Wang Lin. From farther away, endless sand gathered as well. It stretched beyond sight, converging upon this single point. The speed was overwhelming. From every direction, the sand closed in, as if to devour him whole. From above, it looked like countless tides merging into one. Wang Lin's expression shifted. He spat out a treasure. The 18 Hell Celestial Sealing Stamp emerged, expanding into a small mountain. He shouted, "Magic Arsenal," and waved his right hand. A ghostly wail filled the sky. Specks of light spread across the world. Countless souls appeared among them, the blood ancestor. There were celestial souls as well, and the souls of all those Wang Lin had slain. They roared as one, drowning out even the howling sand. These battle spirits surrounded him. At a thought, they surged outward. The blood ancestor was the most ferocious. His bloodshot eyes flickered toward Wang Lin, yet he did not rebel. With a roar, he charged forward. The celestial souls seemed maddened, attacking everything around them. Among them were newly added souls from the slaughter realm. The moment they appeared, killing intent filled the air. As the sand collided with the souls, endless rumblings spread across the world. Ming Hai remained calm. He raised a finger to his brow. A flash of white light emerged and condensed into a 3-inch sword. The blade was pure white. The moment it formed, it released a terrifying sword aura so sharp It seemed capable of splitting the heavens. "This sword was granted to me by the celestial emperor Ming Hai," said quietly. "It is called Fang Zhu." A trace of melancholy colored his tone. He flicked the sword forward. It became a streak of white light moving with terrifying speed, closing in on Wang Lin like a single line drawn across the sky. "This sword possesses a spirit. To die beneath it is your fortune." He sighed softly. Though his face remained hidden, the sigh pierced through the black mist and reached Wang Lin's ears. Wang Lin did not hesitate. He clenched his right hand into a fist. Behind him, the shadow of an ancient god appeared. He stepped forward through the sand and punched directly toward the incoming light. A thunderous explosion erupted. A whirlwind formed before him, sweeping away the sand as it collided with the white light. At that moment, the sword aura exploded. Even Ling Tianhao's sword, intent, paled before it. Like a radiant arc, it descended and instantly split the whirlwind from its core. It was severed in two. Wang Lin's face darkened further. He retreated rapidly, striking with successive punches. Explosions echoed continuously as he withdrew over 1,000 feet before barely avoiding the sword aura. Disappointment flickered in Ming Hai's eyes. He turned as if to return to the tower. Yet the small sword shattered all the shockwaves Wang Lin created. It flickered once, reverting to a streak of white light that pursued him relentlessly. Wang Lin frowned deeply. Blue light flashed within his right eye. An azure barrier formed before him, meeting the white light head-on. Crackling sounds rang out. Behind him, the ancient god's shadow grew more solid. His expression turned contemplative as the stars within the shadow slowly revolved. Memories inherited from 2C surged through his mind. After a deep breath, Wang Lin brought his hands together before his chest. His fingers intertwined, forming a strange seal. "Steal the merit of the heavens. Take the soul of the universe. Gather the ancient order. Eternal remembrance." The ancient god language flowed from his lips. Behind him, the shadow mirrored the same seal. Though he had inherited many ancient god spells, a 5-star ancient god could wield only a few. Beyond summoning ancestral power and the god-slaying spear, there was this one. This was the limit of his strength. The spell was called Merit Spirit. He did not aim at the white sword. His target was Ming Hai. A ghostly light flickered in his eyes as he thrust the seal forward. Vast ancient god power surged through him, condensing within his hands. Steal the merit of the heavens. The world changed. The dim sky seemed torn apart by unseen hands. A shockwave blasted outward, scattering all surrounding sand. Freed from restraint, the souls of the magic arsenal surged forward. Beyond the demon spirit land, the world shifted. Endless origin energy gathered, breaking through the vortex of the East Demon Spirit Sea and pouring inward. It pierced through all within the land, rushing into the 5th cave through the 9-dragon formation. At that moment, the white jade bottle before the figure seated upon the wooden bridge began to tremble violently. A voice emerged from the black mist. A ghostly light flashed within those hidden eyes as they lifted upward. A dark vortex appeared and streams of origin energy poured from it toward the bottle. "It can draw power from beyond this world." The voice carried unmistakable shock. "I thought only 4 required attention. Unexpectedly, there is another." From within the mist, a withered arm extended from the bottle and clenched tightly. The incoming origin energy collapsed instantly, scattering into nothingness. At the same time, Wang Lin's voice echoed again across the black sand desert. "Take the soul of the universe." The ancient god shadow behind him roared. The sound shook heaven and earth, as if it could tear the world apart and extract the very essence of existence. Though the universe possessed no true soul, this spell could seize a fragment of its will. It was a terrifying technique. Its power depended entirely on the wielder. A 9-star ancient god could draw not only the soul of the universe, but fragments of the laws themselves, reshaping the heavens. Wang Lin, however, stood at only 5 stars. He could not reach such heights. Yet as a royal ancient god, he could still shake the black sand desert to its core. On the wooden bridge, The shadow had just crushed the origin energy when the white jade bottle trembled even more violently. A force from within began to pull outward with relentless suction. The black stopper at its mouth quivered, slowly dragged downward, as though about to be swallowed into the bottle itself. A ghostly brilliance burst forth from the eyes hidden within the dark mist. After he uttered the words, "Steal the merit of the heavens," although the origin energy he had drawn from the outside was forcibly cut off, his own origin energy surged forth. It merged with his ancient god power and gathered within his palm. At the instant his origin energy left his body, a white thread emerged from the seal formed by Wang Lin's hands. "Seize the soul of the universe." His voice fell like a decree. A storm erupted within the black sand desert. Countless gusts howled across the barren land. Black gas rose from the world itself, condensing into a single black thread before Wang Lin. The white thread and the black thread intertwined. They crossed, fused, and formed a diamond-shaped rune. This rune was far beyond anything of the Tattoo clan. Its structure was so intricate that merely gazing upon it made one's mind spin, as if consciousness itself would be torn apart. "Gather the ancient order, eternal remembrance." As Wang Lin spoke the final words, the diamond rune released both black and white radiance. It slowly drifted forward. As it moved, it expanded. In the blink of an eye, it grew to over 10,000 feet in size. It was like a towering wall that reached the heavens, advancing with unstoppable force. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The dim sky was pushed backward. Even the black sand on the ground was driven away. It was not displacement. It was erasure. It was as though the sand's very existence was being wiped from reality. The massive diamond rune could be seen from every corner of this world. Wherever it advanced, everything before it was annihilated. A trace of exhaustion appeared on Wang Lin's face. With his current level of ancient god power, casting this spell was no simple matter. This was why he had never used it before. If not for this battle deciding whether he could leave this place alive, he would not have used it. Ming Hai, though merely a cultivator at the Nirvana cleanser stage, the spells and treasures he wielded shook heaven and earth. As the thunder roared, the small white sword was forced backward. A sword hymn echoed across the sky. Ming Hai, who had been stepping back toward the tower, suddenly trembled. He turned, and when he saw the approaching diamond rune, his eyes shone with a brilliant light. "I care not whether you are an ancient god or a chi cultivator," he said calmly. "To display such a spell, you are worthy to witness the true form of the sword bestowed by the Celestial Emperor." As his voice faded, he pointed forward. The small white sword, which had been pushed back, trembled violently. It released sword energy capable of piercing the heavens. In an instant, the entire sky filled with sword shadows. An ancient sword intent descended upon the world. It carried an aura from ages long past, vast and oppressive. The small sword had summoned this ancient will into the black sand desert. As the sword intent descended, figures began to appear behind the countless sword shadows. Ancient figures. Each one held a sword. Then the small white sword transformed into a streak of white light and shot toward the diamond rune. The figures in the sky moved. As they moved, boundless sword energy erupted. At this moment, the sky became a world of swords. Under the charge of the white sword, endless streams of sword energy converged upon the diamond rune. The white sword was the fastest. It struck first. The moment it collided with the rune, ripples spread violently across its surface. Then the sword energies from the sky descended like a storm. It was as if countless cultivators were unleashing sword techniques simultaneously. Their energies fused into a monstrous sword, intent crashing into the rune. The diamond rune trembled violently. A deafening roar echoed as it shook. Wang Lin's body quivered. He coughed out a mouthful of blood. At his current cultivation level, using such a spell inevitably brought backlash. Cold light filled Wang Lin's eyes. He stared forward without retreat. The ancient god stars within him spun rapidly. Vast amounts of ancient god power poured into the rune. The rune continued forward. As it advanced, the black sand was completely swept away, revealing a mirror-like white surface beneath. Even the dim sky was forced back, exposing the same white reflective void. The ancient sword intent and countless sword shadows were pushed into retreat. Even an ancient sword intent could not withstand the power of an ancient god spell. Moreover, the white sword did not possess the complete ancient intent, only a fragment. It could not resist. Ming Hai's eyes flickered with a strange light. He smiled faintly, watching the advancing rune and Wang Lin behind it. He laughed. Good, good. In my twilight years, I did not expect to witness such a spell. I will answer one of your questions. I believe what you wish to know most is how to leave this place. He spoke slowly, his voice echoing through the heavens. This is the first layer of the celestial cave, the bottle world. Here, the celestial emperor gathers celestial spiritual energy to form celestial spirits. It is called the bottle world because this entire realm exists within a single bottle. This bottle is one of the treasures refined by the celestial emperor in his early years. However, after the celestial emperor suffered grievous injury, his divine sense collapsed. A fragment containing his lonely desert smoke descended here, transforming this place into a black sand desert. The grey gas you encountered was formed by that very spell. There are 99 realms in total. Each one is filled with the same black sand. You and your companions have been scattered across different realms. He paused, then continued. I can also tell you this, the Celestial Emperor's spell, Lonely Desert Smoke, was comprehended from one of the 9 mountain and river paintings. That painting is sealed within this bottle world. If fate allows, you may claim it. His smile widened, turning cold. Of course, you must first kill me. Ming Hai laughed loudly. He leapt forward, ghostly light flickering within his eyes. He pointed toward the sky and spoke in a low voice. I, Ming Hai, am a realm spirit of the bottle world. Aside from Fangju gifted by the Celestial Emperor, I also possess a celestial spell. Burn the heavens. As his finger pointed upward, 9 colored flames ignited within his body. Scarlet, orange, red, green, cyan, blue, purple, and beyond them black and white. The flames surged upward along his gesture, engulfing the sky in scarlet fire. It did not stop. As the scarlet spread, the other colors erupted. 9 colored flames flooded the heavens. In that instant, fire covered the world like an endless sea. Burn the heavens. Burn the sky itself. A celestial spell that wielded the power to incinerate the firmament. Its creator, Qing Lin. Waves of scorching heat descended. The dim veil of the sky vanished, replaced by boundless flames. Under this searing force, the sand beneath began to collapse. Grain by grain, it shattered. In a single moment, the black sand desert transformed into hell. As the grains broke apart, they melted under the invading heat. The black sand became a black sea. This terrifying sight caused Wang Lin's breath to hitch. He stood closest to the flames. The heat struck his body instantly. His skin cracked open. Even his blood turned into red mist seeping from his pores. Yet this was not the most alarming part. Wang Lin sensed his origin energy rapidly dissipating. The flames seemed endless, as though they would burn as long as the sky existed. Popping sounds echoed across the heavens. Within the inferno, Wang Lin faintly saw 9 fire dragons roaring, devouring the world. To bear the name Burn the Heavens, such a spell could not be ordinary. If even the sky could be reduced to ashes, what of all things beneath it? The diamond rune pressed forward, pushing aside the molten sand. Even the flames seemed forced back by its advance. But in the next instant, fiercer flames surged. The sky itself appeared to melt. Massive torrents of fire rained down. Each impact caused the earth to tremble. More flames fell, converging before the rune. The suffocating heat and black gas shook Wang Lin's mind. Ming Hai's laughter resounded across the world. The power that burns the heavens. Become my celestial spell. Destroy everything. As his voice echoed, the flames in the sky gathered. They surged toward the diamond rune. 9 colored fire descended, circling the rune. More and more flames poured down. even the ground ignited. The black sand desert became a sea of fire seeking to devour both Wang Lin and the rune. Wang Lin had already exhausted a vast amount of origin energy. His face was pale as he stood upon the rune, under the relentless assault of flames, under the burning sky, under the endless descent of fire. The diamond rune shattered. In the moment it broke, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. He spread his arms wide. The last of his origin energy surged outward, forming a shockwave. The shattered rune fragments scattered in all directions. Though broken, each fragment still contained the power of an ancient god. As they spread, it was like a storm erupting within the sea of fire. The storm forced the flames back, but only for a moment. Once it faded, the fire would return and consume everything. Seizing that fleeting opening, Wang Lin ignored the sweat soaking his body and the blood mist escaping his pores. He slapped his storage bag. His eyes burned red as he roared, God-slaying chariot. In an instant, a 5-colored light shot forth from his bag, transforming into a 5-colored butterfly. The 5-colored butterfly beat its wings, scattering a fine mist of radiant dust. Wang Lin raised his hand and pointed toward Ming Hai, who stood behind the raging sea of fire. The butterfly drifted forward, its wings trembling once more. An invisible gale surged forth, a wind capable of shattering all laws. It swept across the ruins of the black sand desert. The moment the butterfly appeared, the mist surrounding Ming Hai was struck and torn apart. As the haze dispersed, grey armor was revealed. Within it stood a rigid, upright figure. Ming Hai gazed at the butterfly. A trace of confusion flickered in his eyes. He seemed to abandon resistance, standing there in a daze as if lost within a dream. The butterfly moved closer. Its wings fluttered again. A small portion of Ming Hai's armor shattered into fragments and was blown backward. The butterfly continued forward. Its wings beat again and again. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Ming Hai's armor began to break apart violently. Cracks spread across his helmet. At last it fell away, exposing his face. Rough black hair, a sunken aged visage, a middle-aged man burdened by time. Across his right eyebrow lay a scar. It was deep, so deep it nearly pierced into his skull. Embedded within it was a black fragment. From that fragment, strands of black gas seeped out, continuously burrowing into his head. Ming Hai tore his gaze away from the butterfly. A ghostly light flickered within his eyes. He raised a hand and touched the scar on his forehead. "I still haven't died," he muttered. His figure blurred. He rushed toward Wang Lin. His right hand formed a seal pointing toward the heavens. The surrounding flames surged wildly, as if summoned by an unseen force. They devoured the shattered diamond rune and swept forward in a frenzy. A cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. He stepped forward. Both hands formed a seal. He bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a stream of blood. With it, his right hand traced a blood rune and pressed it onto the 5-colored butterfly. Every god-slaying war chariot bears 5 seals. When the 3rd chariot awakened, it became a cocoon. And from that cocoon, this butterfly was born. Yet the 5 seals remain. Only by releasing all 5 can I truly control this chariot and wield the full power of the treasure forged by Master Tianbao, a power that can slay gods. The transformation into a butterfly is the 1st seal. Now the 2nd seal, release. The blood rune sank into the butterfly. It trembled violently. Then another color emerged. A 6th hue appeared. Ming Hai advanced rapidly. Flames wrapped around his arm as he swung forward. As he closed in, fire erupted before him. Wang Lin did not hesitate. The ancient god furnace appeared. His body flickered, vanishing only to reappear behind Ming Hai. His eyes turned cold. His right hand pressed down mercilessly onto Ming Hai's back. The Wither Dao pair manifested in an instant. A sinister aura filled the air. Grey light spread beneath Ming Hai's feet. Ming Hai let out a grim smile. He opened his arms wide. A surge of devilish celestial energy burst forth, forming a shockwave that spread outward in all directions. The grey light beneath his feet shattered and vanished. The shockwave struck toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin retreated swiftly. At the same time, he spat out another mouthful of blood toward the butterfly. Third seal, release. This was the limit of his cultivation 3 seals. The butterfly trembled once more. In the blink of an eye, it transformed into a 7-colored butterfly. 7 radiant hues shimmered, making it even more resplendent. With a single beat of its wings, 7-colored dust appeared before Wang Lin and drifted gently forward. Ming Hai turned, sweeping his right hand. The sea of flame surged again, rushing toward Wang Lin. They were now less than 1,000 feet away. The heat roared forward. Wang Lin's skin cracked further, yet little blood mist escaped. His vision blurred. The loss of blood had weakened him. Even his origin soul had grown faint. Yet the ancient god leather armor shielded it from harm. After all, it came from an 8-star ancient god, far beyond Wang Lin's 5-star body. Even Ming Hai was startled. He sneered coldly. His left hand formed a seal and pressed toward the earth. Then he reached into the void. All the melted black sand, now liquid, gathered into his hand. At that moment, the 7-colored butterfly surged forward. The colored dust formed a storm that charged toward Ming Hai. Ming Hai's eyes lit up. He hurled the black liquid upward. It spread, forming a barrier. Yet in the next instant, the butterfly pierced through the storm, tearing through the barrier. The black liquid was forced backward, driven toward Ming Hai along with the storm itself. The flames were now less than 500 feet away. In that instant of peril, the ancient god furnace enveloped Wang Lin. He vanished and reappeared behind Ming Hai. His right hand struck forward without hesitation. Ming Hai frowned. The devilish celestial energy within him surged again. But just as it was about to erupt, a cold light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. Stop! This strike was not meant to harm. It was a feint to seize the perfect moment. The stop spell. At that word, it was as if countless invisible threads bound Ming Hai's body. He froze. For a single breath. Wang Lin at his core was only at the peak of mid-stage Nirvana Scryer. To cast stop against a Nirvana cleanser celestial invited severe backlash. But he no longer cared. In that fleeting moment of stillness, the 7-colored storm arrived. It did not strike Ming Hai's body. Instead, under Wang Lin's control, it plunged directly into the wound on his right eyebrow. The entire storm disappeared into the scar. A frenzied roar erupted from Ming Hai. He clutched his head, struggling violently as he retreated. Wang Lin did not pursue. He withdrew all his treasures. When the Burn the Heavens spell had appeared, he had already recalled the souls within his magic arsenal and the celestial sealing stamp. Now he turned and rushed toward the Black Tower. Flames surged from every direction. The heat engulfed him. His clothes ignited, yet a flash of blue light from his right eye extinguished the fire instantly. Gritting his teeth, he summoned the ancient god furnace once more. In a flash, he moved 1,000 feet forward. He stepped into the Black Tower. He had chosen this place because even as the flames consumed the world, melting the black sand desert into nothingness, the tower had remained unmoved. Not a single flame had entered it. Yet the fire was too fast. The moment Wang Lin entered, the flames swept past. A wave of heat slammed into his back. Pain surged through him. The heat penetrated his body. Fortunately, it was only residual, barely bearable. He quickly took out a large number of pills and swallowed them. Then he turned to look outward. The world had become a sea of fire. The black sand desert was gone. Above, the sky had turned into a void. At times, it revealed a mirror-like white surface, smooth and cold. From afar, Ming Hai's agonized screams echoed. He clutched his head, roaring endlessly. Wang Lin could see clearly the 7-colored light within the scar on his right eyebrow. It flickered as though attempting to seal the wound. When the wound finally closed, the black fragment within was surrounded by 7-colored gas. The flow of devilish energy was cut off. Ming Hai's eyes grew distant, as if awakening from an endless nightmare. Yet his face was filled with pain. He lifted his head, gazing toward the mirror-like white sky above. A miserable smile formed. Celestial Emperor, Ming Hai has been disloyal. My greed led me astray. I became a devil. I deserve death. The flames surged. They engulfed him completely. When they faded, nothing remained but ashes. Only the seven-colored butterfly endured. It fluttered through the sea of fire and returned to Wang Lin's side. Wang Lin watched in silence. He seemed to grasp something of what had occurred. After a long sigh, he turned his attention to the tower. The flames did not enter. Time passed. At last his eyes lit up. He slapped his storage bag. Several severed heads floated before him. A strange light flickered in his eyes. I did not expect the celestial spell, Nether Guide, to be useful here. These people carry devilish energy. If I use it as a guide, I can open a passage and leave this place. He waved his hand. The heads collapsed. His hands formed seals. Everything merged, forming a dark red vortex. A passage slowly opened before him. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. Something was wrong. As the vortex spun, dense, devilish energy poured out from within. Then a thunderous boom echoed. It was as if the vortex had pierced into another realm. Wang Lin looked inside. His expression changed. Within the vortex, he saw a vast hall filled with thick, devilish energy. At its center stood a massive throne, and upon that throne sat a figure. Wang Lin had originally intended to borrow the power of the Nether Guide to open a path leading out of the bottle. Yet as devilish energy surged inward from the other side of the vortex, the Nether Guide spiraled out of control. The density of that devilish energy was overwhelming. The moment Wang Lin sensed even a trace of it, he withdrew at once. A flicker of shock surfaced within his dark, composed expression. This was his first time using the Nether Guide. He had never expected the tunnel to lead to such a place. From his experience, the scattered demon possessed the most devilish energy he had encountered, with Ming Hai following behind. But even the two of them combined could not compare in the slightest to the terrifying aura pouring out from the other side of the vortex. The devilish energy within the vortex was pure, utterly pure. It carried an extreme quality, as though it stood as the origin of all devilish energy. Compared to it, the scattered demon and Ming Hai were nothing more than fireflies, while this presence was like a radiant moon. Most terrifying of all was the figure seated upon the throne within that mysterious hall. With just a single glance, Wang Lin felt his scalp prickle, his heart trembling uncontrollably. At that instant, he could hear nothing but the frantic pounding of his own heart. His breath halted. Without the slightest hesitation, he severed the Nether Guide. The vortex immediately began to collapse. As the vortex crumbled, shadows of the dozens Wang Lin had slain emerged within it. Their gazes were filled with malice. They howled like restless ghosts, as if yearning to break free and devour him whole. The figure upon the throne slowly raised his head. From within the murky fog, a pair of muddled eyes appeared. That gaze pierced through the collapsing vortex and fell directly upon Wang Lin. In the next moment, those blurred eyes sharpened. The instant that clarity appeared, a blue light flashed from Wang Lin's right eye. He retreated without hesitation. An azure barrier materialized before him at once. At the same time, the mysterious figure lifted his hand. Something was grasped within it. With a casual motion, he cast it forward. A streak of yellow light shot toward the collapsing vortex. The moment it entered, a thunderous rumble erupted. The vortex's collapse accelerated violently. As the yellow light tore through it, the vortex disintegrated completely. The ferocious shadows shrieked. Their forms shattered into countless black motes, vanishing in an instant. The yellow light surged outward and struck the azure barrier. Yet it passed through as though intangible, moving straight toward Wang Lin's face. It halted abruptly just 3 inches from his nose. At that moment, the vortex vanished. Silence returned to the black tower. Cold sweat covered Wang Lin's forehead. He stared closely at the yellow light and saw within it a diamond-shaped crystal. He retreated several steps, his expression dark and uncertain. After a long silence, he extended his hand. The crystal drifted into his grasp. I did not use the Nether Guide incorrectly. Another powerful spell interfered. It disrupted, it dragged me to a place unknown. Wang Lin studied the crystal. With his sharp mind, it took only a short moment to reach a conclusion. That mysterious figure must have interfered with my nether guide. It is a pity the fog concealed his appearance, yet it is clear. He did this to deliver this crystal to me. A faint light flickered in Wang Lin's eyes. Then he frowned. The Celestial Emperor's cave was far too enigmatic. There were too many mysteries, too many things he could only speculate upon, never truly confirm. Could that figure be Qing Lin? Wang Lin murmured softly. And if so, what purpose lies behind giving me this crystal? He did not probe it with divine sense. Instead, he set it aside. He stepped back, sat down, and began to cultivate. His physical body was wounded. Blood loss left him dizzy. Yet what truly alarmed him was the near depletion of his origin energy. And beyond that, even the celestial origin energy within him had nearly been exhausted. I have consumed too much of the celestial origin energy given by Brother Qing Shui. I must replenish it soon. The danger of this battle is rarely matched in my life. Recalling the celestial spell Ming Hai had used, Wang Lin felt a lingering dread. He turned his gaze outward. Beyond the tower, flames engulfed the world. Though no heat reached him inside the sight alone warped his vision. The air shimmered violently. It felt as though his very sight was being burned to ash, preventing him from seeing far. I wonder how Situ and the others fare. He sighed quietly. Within the tower, surrounded by endless fire, it felt as though he alone remained in this world. Time passed. The medicinal pills he had taken began to show their effects. His wounds slowly healed. He raised his hand and tapped his storage bag. A milky white glow appeared in his palm. Within it lay pure celestial origin energy. The origin soul of esteemed Xuan Bao now has its use. He brought the light before his nose and inhaled. 2 streams of celestial origin energy entered his nostrils, flowing into his body. Days passed in silence. When Wang Lin opened his eyes again, the celestial origin energy within him had been restored and even increased slightly. Yet he understood clearly too much celestial origin energy would destabilize his domain. The regenerative power of an ancient god body was formidable. In mere days, all injuries had vanished. Even the dizziness had faded. But now a greater problem remained: his origin energy. Outside recovery would have been simple. With his cultivation, he could easily draw upon the world's energy. But here, after days of effort, progress was slow. He could sense it faintly. The Black Sand Desert held little origin energy. What remained had fused with the endless flames outside. To draw it in would be like plucking a chestnut from a raging fire. After a moment of contemplation, Wang Lin rose. He glanced at the yellow crystal in the distance, but ignored it. Instead, he moved to the window and looked outward once more. Flames still filled his vision. The sky crackled. Black smoke stained the pale expanse above, forming a dense, oppressive shroud. I cannot recover my origin energy. Without it, I cannot reach my peak. And without that, I cannot risk examining the crystal. Nor can I leave the tower carelessly. While cultivating his divine sense had already swept through the entire Black Tower. Nothing unusual had been found. His gaze returned to the sea of flames. Then slowly, he made a decision. His teeth clenched. He stepped forward out of the Black Tower. The moment his feet touched the ground, the flames reacted instantly. They surged toward him, eager to devour. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. His right hand shot forward. He seized a portion of the flames, then retreated immediately back into the tower. The instant he crossed the threshold, the flames followed. They engulfed the entire tower. Only after a long while did they recede like a retreating tide. Wang Lin sat on the ground, pale-faced. In his hand, a flame no larger than a soybean flickered. Yet its heat was terrifying. Cracks spread across his right hand. He stared at the flame. His eyes reddened. Hesitation surfaced. This was a choice. A dangerous one. 7 minutes passed. Then his gaze hardened. Though dangerous, the quantity is small. I have calculated carefully. There should be no issue. Hesitation is useless. I might as well attempt it. He struck his own body. His storage bag flew aside, sealed by several restrictions. Taking a deep breath, he raised the flame and swallowed it. The moment it entered his body, a violent heat erupted. Unimaginable heat. His entire body turned red. His mouth opened as a roar of agony echoed through the tower. Flames burst from his pores. His clothes burned to ash instantly. Fire spread outward, covering everything within 30 feet. Sweat poured from him, only to vaporize into white mist swirling around his body. It felt as though he had swallowed molten coal. Thanks to the ancient god leather armor, his origin soul remained unharmed. But his remaining origin energy fused with the flame burning his body from within. Wang Lin endured. As the flame merged further, it began moving toward his origin soul. Only by letting it enter can I truly absorb its origin energy. His calculations completed. Determination filled his eyes. He pointed at his chest. The ancient god leather armor separated from his origin soul and flew outward. Without its protection, the blazing origin energy surged directly into his origin soul. The origin energy, ablaze with flames, surged into Wang Lin's origin soul. Without hesitation, he commanded his ancient thunder dragon origin soul to devour it. The instant it was absorbed, a searing pain erupted within his very soul. Wang Lin clenched his teeth. He endured in silence. Time lost all meaning to him. After an unknown span, the torment gradually faded. The origin energy within the flames slowly merged with his origin soul, flowing in steady natural currents. Wang Lin opened his weary eyes. At that moment, the sea of flames within 30 feet of him retreated into his pores, returning to his body. This time, however, there was no agony, only warmth. The flames fused quickly with his origin energy. My origin energy has increased slightly. Though this method is dangerous, it is viable. Wang Lin inhaled deeply, then closed his eyes once more. 15 minutes later, he rose. Though fatigue lingered, he stepped out of the black tower. Outside lay a world of fire. Black gas veiled the heavens. This time, Wang Lin remained outside longer than before. He extended his right hand, seized a flame the size of a baby's fist, and returned to the tower. Ignoring the flames that once again encircled the tower, he sat down, his gaze fixed on the flame in his palm. Then he swallowed it. Time passed in this manner. To restore his origin energy, he endured unrelenting pain. Again and again he drew flames from the inferno and fused them into his being. At first he could only absorb flames no larger than a baby's fist. Now he seized flames the size of a head. He no longer needed to swallow them. One breath was enough to draw them in. Anyone familiar with Wang Lin would struggle to recognize the figure within the tower. Prolonged absorption of devilish energy had already left him emaciated. Now cracks spread across his skin, giving him a terrifying appearance. His hair was dry, devoid of any luster. Yet his eyes grew ever brighter. Anyone who met his gaze would feel a scorching heat, as if they would be burned to ash. The strangest change lay between his eyebrows. Several days ago, after absorbing a certain quantity of flames, Wang Lin felt a shift there. The sensation came from the vermillion birthmark. I did not expect that absorbing these flames would not only restore my origin energy, but also generate this heat. Yet this heat feels different from Qing Lin's burn, the heaven spell. Wang Lin opened his eyes and touched the space between his brows. I intended only to recover my origin energy. But now, the more I absorb, the greater the benefit. A glint of light flickered in his eyes as he stood and walked forward. When he stepped out of the black tower, the flames surged toward him like raging tides. Wang Lin remained calm, allowing them to engulf him. He walked within the inferno, unhurried, unshaken. His pace was slow, yet to traverse this sea of flames in such a manner was astonishing. If Ling Tianhu were present, he would be utterly shocked. Even Ling Tianhao could not move through this inferno so casually. After 15 minutes, Wang Lin stopped. This was his limit. Beyond this point, the flames intensified and the heat grew unbearable. He gazed ahead at the endless fire. Then he sat down and spread his arms. Two streams of flame gathered from either side, forming a sphere of fire as large as his body. Wang Lin opened his mouth and inhaled. The fireball rapidly shrank, vanishing into him. Intense heat erupted from his body, causing the surrounding flames to surge wildly and completely submerge him. 3 days later, the flames around him suddenly expanded outward. Wang Lin slowly stood. His skin was more cracked than before. His eyes burned brighter still. A terrifying aura emanated from him, merging with the surrounding flames, generating an unimaginable heat. Still lacking a bit, he murmured, touching the space between his brows as he continued forward. Behind him, the black tower faded from sight. Time flowed once more. Each time he reached his limit, he would sit and cultivate. When his strength recovered, he pressed onward. In the blink of an eye, 4 months passed. Wang Lin was now far from the black tower. All around him stretched a boundless sea of monstrous flames. The heat here could incinerate all life. The cracks on his skin would shatter, revealing new flesh beneath, only for the cracks to form again soon after. The heat here should be sufficient. On this day, Wang Lin halted and drew a deep breath. As he inhaled, the sea of flames before him stirred. Vast quantities of fire rushed into his body, but this time he did not merge the flames with his origin energy or soul. Instead, he directed everything without reservation toward the mark between his eyebrows. All of it poured into the mark, making it vivid, alive. The vermillion bird mark. Over these months, its form had changed continuously. What began as a simple imprint was gradually transforming into a true vermillion bird. It was as if a vermillion bird was growing within him, solidifying, preparing to break free. Not enough. Wang Lin suddenly spread his arms wide, sweeping the surroundings. All flames were drawn toward him, enveloping his body before entering through his pores. Endless flames surged into him. He forced them all into the mark between his brows. The mark blazed with a deep red light. Wang Lin leapt into the sky. Crimson light radiated outward. Flames from the earth rose to follow him, pouring into his body. From afar, the sight was shocking beyond measure. Still not enough. A strange light flickered in his eyes. His arms extended as if embracing the entire sea of fire. His origin energy spread outward. As it expanded, another sea of flames appeared in the sky, formed from his own origin energy. This celestial sea of fire generated a powerful suction. It resonated with the flames below. Instantly, all ground flames surged upward, rushing into Wang Lin's body. From every direction, endless flames converged. It was as if a black hole had formed, devouring all fire within the black sand desert. Massive quantities of flame entered him, all channeled into the mark between his brows. When the crimson light reached its peak, a fiery vermilion bird emerged. The moment it appeared, a heaven-shaking cry resounded within the bottle world, as if it could tear apart the void itself. This was the cry of the vermilion bird, a cry that shook the heavens. The cry of awakening for Wang Lin, a member of the vermilion bird lineage. The vermilion bird burned with crimson brilliance. It was majestic, filled with intelligence. The instant it cried out, every flame within the black sand desert went mad. Endless fire surged toward the vermilion bird beside Wang Lin at an unimaginable speed. The mark had awakened. The vermilion bird spirit had manifested. In the past, such an awakening was a momentous event within the Four Divine sect. Any member of the vermilion bird lineage who awakened had the potential to become one of the Four Divine, emperors barring misfortune. At this moment, Wang Lin stood as the only awakened member of the vermilion bird lineage, assuming no others had reached this state. That cry did not only shake Wang Lin's realm. At that instant, every realm within the bottle world heard it. Ling Tianhu sat within the black tower of his realm cultivating. Suddenly the cry of the vermilion bird echoed across the world, causing the heavens themselves to tremble. His eyes snapped open, filled with indescribable shock. The cry of the vermilion bird. Elsewhere, the all-seer floated in the air, clad in white. He gazed at the sky, performing divination. His eyes grew brighter and a faint smile appeared. So that is the case. Before he could finish, the vermilion bird's cry arrived crashing down like thunder. In an instant, his calculations shattered. The realm trembled violently. The heavens shifted. For one of the rare times in his life, the all-seer's expression changed. Impossible. The All-Seer was not the only one to react in such a way. Within another realm of the bottle world, Master Void Junior Apprentice, brother to Alliance Head Elder, Master Zhongzhuan rode upon a drifting green cloud. In his hand he held a piece of jade purple and green intertwined. Its radiance spread outward, illuminating everything across countless kilometers. Even at great distances, the glow remained unmistakable purple and green, piercing through space. Master Void was not alone. His cultivation had already reached a terrifying height. In the span of a single year, he had broken through his original realm and advanced across dozens more within this bottle world. Behind him followed the beautiful middle-aged woman and her 4 disciples. "If I am not mistaken," Master Void said slowly, his gaze fixed on the jade, "this is the famed bottle world of Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. It is said that Qing Lin slew 39 invaders of the Tattoo clan and seized their sacred relics. With a powerful refinement spell, he forged them into a world, then sealed that world within this bottle." His voice remained calm, yet carried a subtle weight. No one truly knows its full purpose, but according to Alliance records, this bottle was used to gather celestial spiritual energy. There are even rumors that it can break the world seal surrounding the 4 great star systems. The woman nodded. She was about to speak when suddenly the heavens trembled. A vast change swept across the sky. The earth itself quaked in response. At that same moment, a cry resounded from every direction. It was as though it had torn through the fabric of the world itself, surging inward without restraint. The cry of the vermillion bird echoed across all realms. The woman's expression changed instantly. Shock flooded her face. The girl in pink, suspected to be the brilliant Void Saintess, grew cold, her eyes sharpening. Master Void's pupils contracted. "The vermillion bird, awakening." His voice dropped. "Could it be the junior you spoke of, the one bearing the vermillion bird mark?" The woman's shock deepened. A trace of anxiety flickered within her gaze. "When I saw him before, the mark was sealed completely. There was no sign of awakening. It is impossible. Impossible for it to awaken in such a short time." "Vermillion bird awakening," Master Void murmured. His eyes darkened. Such an event would shake the 4 divine sect. The 4 divine sect. A thread of killing intent appeared within his gaze. He would never allow a person with an awakened mark to rise. He could not forget the war, the bitter, relentless struggle between the Alliance and the 4 divine sect for control of the brilliant void. If not for the Alliance's advantage, greater inheritance from the Reign Celestial realm, and the aid of the brilliant Void Saintess, the Alliance star system would have long since been renamed. Even so, they had failed to eradicate the 4 divine sect. The memory of the 4 divine emperors made his killing intent surge even stronger. "If this person is truly awakened," Master Void said coldly, "then the moment he leaves the celestial spirit heaven realm, the 4 divine sect will find him. They will bring him back, protect him, and pass on their inheritance." A pause. "That cannot be allowed." His voice turned frigid. "If he survives the awakening, he must die here." The vermillion bird's cry surged through the bottle world with overwhelming force. All 99 realms trembled beneath its echo. Within a black sand desert, a man in black sat in meditation. Endless demonic energy rose from the sands and poured into his body. He had remained here since the moment he entered this realm, choosing to cultivate within this sea of devilish power. But now the vermillion bird's cry descended. The dense demonic energy around him collapsed instantly, scattering in all directions. The man's eyes snapped open. His gaze rose toward the sky, cold and heavy. As the cry echoed, a strange light flickered in his eyes. A mark appeared between his brows, a black dragon. "He awakened," the man murmured inwardly. "If he survives, then he is worthy to fight me." The black gas surged, concealing the mark once more. Hidden deep within it became almost impossible to detect, unless one possessed the same bloodline. Elsewhere, Situ Nan cultivated within the bottle world as well. To him, this place was nothing less than a sacred land. More than half the black sand around him had already turned to dust. His wild laughter echoed across the sky as a vortex of demonic energy spiraled around him. His long hair danced wildly within the storm. His entire body was wrapped in black energy. As he absorbed, the sands collapsed further, releasing even more demonic power into his body. "Wonderful, wonderful," he roared. "To think such a place exists, such dense devilish energy." His eyes gleamed with greed. "This is the greatest nourishment for this old man. A pity I cannot absorb too much. Once I've had my fill, I must find Wang Lin. I wonder how that brat is doing now." He continued to devour the energy like a madman. Then the vermilion bird's cry descended once more. The vortex around him shattered instantly. Situ Nan lifted his head, irritation flashing across his face. But then his eyes lit up, and he laughed. "This aura, it's Wang Lin." Relief flickered through him. That brat didn't die after all. Made me worry for nothing. Within the desert, another figure moved. Bald-headed, smiling faintly, his expression carried a demonic calm. His body flickered as he walked, crossing realms with each step. Though he appeared within the same desert, each reappearance placed him in a different realm. That lonely desert smoke painting. "It must be within these few realms," he murmured. "Ancient devil, Tajia." His voice grew colder. "Though I, Bei Lu, am not whole, I have recovered 80% of my strength. This time, you will not be so fortunate." His right eye shone. Within it 7 stars rotated, filled with demonic energy. Ancient gods bore stars upon their brows. Ancient demons within their right eye. Ancient devils within their left. The 7 stars spun rapidly. Then the vermilion bird's cry arrived. The demonic energy around him trembled. He halted between 2 realms, lifting his gaze upward. The vermilion bird, one of the 4 divine beasts of the sealed realm. After a brief silence, the stars in his eye faded. He stepped forward and vanished without a trace. Within the bottle world, all beings were shaken by the vermilion bird's cry. Each harbored their own thoughts. Yet beyond the bottle, change was unfolding. Upon a bridge shrouded in demonic mist, a figure suddenly opened his eyes. Demonic energy surged outward from his body like a storm. Below the bridge within the river, grotesque shadows trembled, fearful of that overwhelming aura. Before him sat a white jade bottle. It trembled violently. From within it, the vermilion bird's cry continued to erupt. The trembling reached its peak, as though something inside was about to break free. Damn it! How did a sealed realm vermilion bird enter this place? A voice filled with grinding teeth echoed from the black mist. He raised his hand. Countless strands of demonic energy gathered at his fingertips. With a single point, all of it surged into the bottle. Within the bottle world, the sea of flame surrounding Wang Lin surged upward toward the vermilion bird. The vermilion bird itself stood nearly 100 feet tall. Its entire body burned crimson. When it spread its wings, they stretched hundreds of feet wide. Its flaming tail trailed behind it, majestic and terrifying. But most striking of all, its eyes. Cold, calm, identical to Wang Lin's own gaze. The endless sea of fire began to gather. In mere moments, it was drawn into the vermilion bird. It was impossible to tell, was the bird exhaling flames, or was it devouring them? From afar, the flames surged from all directions, converging wildly. The vermilion bird cried once more. This time there was joy within it. As the cry echoed, the flames spanning millions of kilometers rushed toward it in madness. The heat was unbearable. Anything caught within it would be reduced to ash instantly. Wang Lin's body trembled beneath this temperature. His skin cracked, then shattered, falling away in fragments. Fresh flesh emerged beneath, only to split again moments later. It was as if the entire sea of fire had poured into his body. The heat within him rose to an unimaginable level. Before this, such a force would have turned him into ash. But now, with the vermilion bird awakened, he endured. His eyes shone brilliantly. Origin energy surged wildly within him, circulating at full force, absorbing the heat. Soon, even his origin energy burned with terrifying intensity. This heat could destroy any body, no matter how powerful. This was the true trial of vermilion bird awakening. Across countless years, many had attempted it within the Four Divine sect. But at the moment of awakening, most could not withstand the flames. They turned to ash. Within the Four Divine sect, there existed an ancient saying passed down since time immemorial. It contained the very essence of the sect's inheritances. When the Four Divines awaken, the black tortoise is the swiftest, the white tiger the most savage, the azure dragon the most powerful, and the vermilion bird the most difficult. Among them, the black tortoise had the highest number of awakenings. Its risk was the lowest, and thus many could succeed. Those who awakened the white tiger were different. They were beings of slaughter drenched in blood, their hands stained by countless lives. The azure dragon stood above the rest in power. Few could awaken it, yet failure was rare. Once awakened, they were destined to rise, to become the azure dragon divine emperor. In ages long past, had it not been for the mysterious disappearance of the azure dragon divine emperor, and the vermilion bird holy emperor suffering his third heaven's blight, unable to unleash his full cultivation, the war against the alliance might have taken an entirely different course. As for the vermilion bird, its awakening was the most arduous. Even the azure dragon could not compare. Those who succeeded, who survived its trials, and ascended to the rank of divine emperor, were vanishingly few. Only those of extraordinary talent, those born with the legendary vermilion bird physique, could accumulate sufficient flame through cultivation. Only then could they trigger the awakening. Only then could they endure that unimaginable heat without being reduced to ash. Without such a physique, internal awakening was impossible. One could only rely on external forces. Yet throughout the entire history of the vermilion bird divine sect, no one had ever succeeded by that method. Wang Lin was an exception. His awakening relied on external force. As the flames gathered, the heat surged to terrifying levels. If not for his ancient god body, he would have long since turned to dust. Never before had anyone awakened this way. Yet never before had a vermilion bird mark been bestowed upon an ancient god capable of enduring it through sheer flesh. Within the inferno, Wang Lin endured. His 5-star royal ancient god body resisted the unbearable heat. His skin split apart again and again. Each time it shattered, new flesh replaced it. Over and over endlessly, until gradually his body adapted. The flames spread across the land. All fire within the realm surged toward him. As the vermilion bird absorbed it, the flames condensed, forming an immense sphere of fire. In an instant, that sphere enveloped both Wang Lin and the vermilion bird. At that moment, the vermilion bird cried once more. Its crimson form flew from Wang Lin's brow, coiling around his body. Slowly it transformed into a vivid tattoo, spreading across his upper torso. Cracks covered his skin. Crimson patterns intertwined with broken flesh. It formed a strange, almost mesmerizing beauty. His eyes shone like stars, cold, distant, brilliant. But no one would ever witness it. The sphere of fire swallowed him completely, growing larger and larger. A destructive aura began to form. Flames gathered endlessly, and the fireball expanded without limit. It was difficult to describe. The sea of flames below surged upward, drawn into the sphere in the sky. From above, one would see it clearly. The vast ocean of fire was shrinking. Relentlessly, it contracted toward the sphere as its center. As more flames were absorbed, the speed of its collapse reached its peak. When the flames receded, the ground beneath was revealed white, smooth like a mirror. The sphere continued to expand until it seemed to touch the heavens. The flames of the realm dwindled, nearly all consumed. At last, no fire remained outside the sphere. All the flames summoned by Ming Hai's burn the heavens had been absorbed within it. Then the black smoke that veiled the sky gathered. It surrounded the fireball. Anyone who saw this scene would feel their mind tremble. As the smoke closed in, vast amounts of devilish energy manifested. It turned into black mist and surged forward. Within it, a colossal shadow formed, its eyes blood red, filled with boundless killing intent. It lunged toward the fireball, but the heat forced it to halt. It recoiled slightly, then stared once more. The killing intent in its gaze only deepened. Inside the fireball, Wang Lin remained with eyes closed. The vermilion bird tattoo shone brilliantly. Endless flames were drawn into his body, devoured, refined. His body strengthened. The temperature rose further. Even his origin energy transformed, infused with terrifying heat. Then his eyes opened. In that instant, every crack on his body shattered, revealing skin faintly red beneath. A storm erupted. The vermilion bird tattoo detached from his body, circling him rapidly. The enormous fireball shrank at an unimaginable speed, collapsing inward, pouring into Wang Lin's body. The devilish shadow reacted instantly. It surged forward, trailing endless black mist, pursuing the shrinking fire. Within moments, the fireball diminished completely. With a thunderous roar, it vanished, entirely absorbed into Wang Lin. Not a single trace of flame remained in the realm. Wang Lin stood once more. His skin glowed red. The vermilion bird hovered near him. His eyes burned like eternal stars. At that moment, he resembled the vermilion bird divine emperor himself. The instant the flames vanished, the devilish shadow descended. Before it could even reach him, endless devilish energy surged forward, seeking to envelop him, to tear him apart. But then flames ignited within Wang Lin's eyes, and from his body erupted a fire capable of destroying the world. He had absorbed too much. What burst forth now was the excess, the remnant flames his body could no longer contain. If kept within, they would destroy him. Thus, they had to be released. This sea of fire differed from Burn the Heavens. It carried not only that power, but also a trace of the vermilion bird's divine flame. Now it erupted. Expanding outward in a vast ring, it spread across heaven and earth. As it surged forward, it collided directly with the devilish shadow. A miserable scream echoed. Fear filled the shadow's eyes. It tried to retreat. Too late. The flames swallowed it like a raging tide. Its roar resounded within the inferno, weakening, fading until only a fragment remained. That fragment broke free, attempting to flee. But it had underestimated this fire. The fusion of Burn the Heavens and the vermilion bird's divine flame had created something far more terrifying. The flames spread without restraint. They did not merely burn this realm. They burned every realm within the bottle. As the fire raged, cracks tore across the sky. Then collapse. Not just one realm. Layer by layer, the world was peeled away. Wherever the flames passed, existence itself disintegrated. Beyond the shattered realm, another appeared. A world of black sand. Yet the flames surged into it, devouring everything. It too collapsed. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The heavens shook as realm after realm crumbled. Each time one fell, the flames surged into the next. The devilish shadow escaped once, twice, again. But it could not escape all 99 realms. After 13 realms fell, it let out one final desperate scream and vanished. Yet this destruction had only begun. The flames spread like an unstoppable storm. Realms fell one after another. Then another realm collapsed. From within, a furious roar erupted. Which damn bastard dares interrupt this old man's cultivation? But the roar turned to a scream as flames engulfed him. Damn it, what kind of fire is this? Si Chunan fled in panic as the realm behind him shattered. Elsewhere, Ling Tianhu gazed upward. The sky appeared torn open by invisible hands. Endless flames poured down. His scalp went numb. Without hesitation, he retreated. The sea of fire surged through worlds unstoppable. Boundaries shattered. Barriers crumbled. From Wang Lin's position, it pierced upward, tearing through realm after realm. The sound of destruction shook the heavens. Within the collapsing sky, the All-Seer appeared. He watched in silence, deep in thought. As the flames swept past, he stepped aside calmly. They did not touch him. But he was not alone. Ling Tianho, Situnan, the All-Seer, all felt this power. And beyond them, everyone within the 99 realms. As realms collapsed, figures emerged. Big Head, the 3 Chen brothers, the old man on the gourd, the man in black, even Master Void, all were forced into the open. Yet the destruction did not cease. It continued relentless. Infused with the power of every shattered realm, the flames became an unstoppable force. Stronger and stronger they surged forward toward the final realm within the bottle. Once that realm fell, the white jade bottle would no longer confine them.